Hello!
Hi, guys!
Welcome to Friday with Friends. Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what's happening in the market, to answer any questions that you might have, so that if you have any real estate needs, we would love the opportunity to be your realtor of choice.
Yes, and we have an exciting topic today. We have so many people, anytime we're out and about, people always say, how's the market? How's real estate? All of that, but especially in this new world we're in right now, we are getting this question all the time. How has the COVID, the pandemic, anything like that impacted the real estate market? And we are here to talk about that today.
Yes. So we will talk about some national statistics that we're seeing. We'll also talk about some local statistics that we are seeing, so that by the time you are done with this episode, with our video today, you will feel extra educated and knowledgeable to be able to share and to really feel like you have a good grasp on what is happening in our market right now.
Perfect. We've got a lot of great things to talk about. So let's start with general market.
Yes.
So how are we seeing, starting in March when the stay-at-home order, things like that were in place, how has the market been affected since then?
Yes. So as you guys know, if you do want, you can look on some of our videos. I did like a market update. I did it like every other week, maybe once a month. We were getting into it just to share what was happening, because what happened was we could not have buyers go into houses.
Oh, remember that?
It was horrible.
It was horrible.
But our team, Abby's like, we still have buyers, we still have sellers. Every single agent on my team, they were ready to rock and ready to roll, and we were able to still help a lot of buyers and sellers during that time. But what happened is quarter two took a turn. So remember, quarter two is April, May, and June. So there were times throughout April and May where it was down 50%. We were literally not even doing half of the business. And when we did do half the business, we're like, we're still selling. That was a win for us, that there were people who bought and sold and were over the moon happy to buy and sell during that time, because people need to buy and sell houses.
Exactly.
We truly do believe that it is essential that we need to do that, but we did it in a really smart, safe way.
Virtual way.
All virtual, that everyone felt comfortable with. So quarter two was a hard month. So at the end of quarter two, inventory was down 30%. But here's a fun fact. June was actually a stronger month in 2020 than June 2019.
That's so crazy. Let's say that one more time.
June 2020 was actually a stronger and better month for real estate sales than June 2019. And a lot of that came from the fact that what was happening in April.
It was delayed.
Right, and it wasn't like, once, once a phase hit, it was kind of this, we've been waiting, we've got to get moving. We had a lot of families who needed to be in by the new school year. What is school? Right. We had a lot of families that had these deadlines, like we can't wait anymore, and we were able to go out and about a bit more.
That's a great point, because we saw those people that were serious, that needed to get into houses, that were willing to buy potentially virtually sight unseen. We're still buying houses in March and April, but in May. But then in June, when things, were a little bit more opened up, closings were happening, things like that, that's when those buyers that maybe weren't so serious but wanted to buy came back into the market.
Yes. So the other thing that's important to look at in terms of where we are, so that's quarter two, that's where we've been year to date. Now we're doing really, really good. The big thing that is the headline is inventory.
Dun, dun, dun.
So inventory, so another way that we talk about is absorption rate. Do you want to talk about absorption rate?
Yes,
You're
perfect.
She's good at talking about absorption rate.
Love absorption rate. So simply put, absorption rate is how quickly a home will absorb or sell in the market. So when we're looking at it, the 3-month time frame of, the home statistically will sell within a 3-month range. That 3-month is really the determining factor between, are we in a seller's market, meaning the home will absorb in less than 3 months, or are we in a buyer's market where it will take longer than 3 months? So that's pretty much the overarching idea of absorption rate, which is something that we're constantly keeping an eye on.
Yes. And at the end of quarter two, the month's supply. So remember, we say 3. Sometimes people say like 4 is the balanced market, but we're not there, okay?
We'll go 3.
We're at 1.9. is inventory right now. 1.9 months of inventory, which is incredibly low, which is not just, oh, you're in a seller's market. It means you are in a very strong seller's market, which is why if you are seeing everything when it comes down to all of the multiple offers and the high prices, all of that comes from the fact that it is a seller's market and the seller can ask for whatever the heck they want.
Exactly. So what that means is 1.9 months of inventory means basically, and this changes from town to town, neighborhood to neighborhood, county to county, street to street, price points. It's going to change, but overall in our market, 1.9 months is saying that generally, statistically speaking, it should take a home 1.9 months to absorb into the market.
So if not another single house got listed and we just had the current amount of inventory, there would be no more houses for sale at the end of 1.9 months.
Exactly, which is basically like 2 months.
Why are we saying 1.9?
1.9.
Sorry.
We're very detail oriented here. So I know that you have this fun fact that you're really excited to share, so let's hear it.
Yes. Okay. So within Keller Williams, we have a lot of just presentations and just learning opportunities. And there was this stat that Gary Keller shared that was so impactful. And if you guys want to see some more stats on this, if you love numbers and want a great slideshow, I'll send it to you. But here's the fun fact. Between 1999 and 2016, over the course of all of those years, all of the months of those years, there were only 4 months that had 4 months or less supply of homes. So we're talking about absorption rate. So 4 months or less. So there was only that seller's market 4 months between those entire almost
16 years.
However, in the last 3 years, 2017 till today, that's around 43-ish months, 20 of those months have had less than 4 months of inventory.
Wow. So you're saying we've been in this seller's market for the last 3 years pretty consistently, either every other month, things like that.
Yes.
And my guess is those other 23 months were probably right over 4, if I were to guess too.
Yes.
So we've been in this seller's market now consistently for the last 3 years, when before that, it was rarely, that absorption rate was rarely under 4.
Yes. So when we're just starting kind of with this overarching, what we're seeing in the market, what we're feeling in the market, and people are always like, is it a great time to sell? Heck yes.
Do it right now.
Do you want to know when it's the best time to sell? Especially if you don't have to buy. But here's the challenge. People are like, well, should I buy now? Should I sell now? If you have to buy and sell, you are going to win on one side and you're going to lose on the other side. Unless you're somewhere around 3 to 4 months where it's pretty balanced, you're going to win, you're going to buy in the same market you're going to sell in. So if you're going to win on the sell side, you're going to not win on the buy side, or if it's a buyer's market. So if you want to buy or sell, just do it when you need to, you're going to, it's going to balance out. Now, yes, if you're going to buy a big house versus selling a big house, your percentages might have a little bit of an impact, but just never think like, oh, this is a horrible time or this is a great time, especially if you just have to sell right now. This is your time to shine. If you just have to buy right now, kind of a bummer.
Yeah. And as you said, every price point, every location, things are hot, things are less hot. Pretty much everything is hot, but we'll say hot or less hot. So feel free to reach out to us and we can get specifics on, because we're going to be the first ones to tell you, you should wait, or let's test it out, things like that. So definitely let us know what you're looking for and we can get into those specifics.
Yes.
And so with the inventory being low, again, so that's going to be the absorption rate of 3 months or less, we are seeing that prices are up and over. We thought last year the inventory was low and the prices were low, but this year it's even stronger. So lower inventory is creating higher price points, and we are up 4% overall. We'll get into more specifics in our market year over year.
Yes, and some even towns within nationally, I'm like, why am I talking about Spain's market? Nationally, they're actually up almost closer to 6 too.
Wow.
So we're just seeing that, and it's a result of seller's market driving prices up.
Yep, low inventory, supply and demand.
Basic
Econ 101.
All right, so let's get into local. We're going to talk about Monroe County, Ontario County, and Wayne County. We serve all the Monroe and surrounding counties, but these are kind of our 3 counties that we do a lot in and that we have a lot of our followers in that want to know what's happening in their market.
Definitely.
So what we're going to do is we're going to compare year to date So June was great, August was great, September was great. We've had some great years, but we just kind of want to see how that compares. And keep in mind, 2019 was this banner year. So when we're comparing, yes, it would be natural if we were down a little bit, but we're down substantially. But we want to talk about what that means and some implications around that. So
exactly.
Let's start with closed sales.
Perfect. And what we will say is there are positives that come out of these. Like we talked about, one thing might be down, but another thing is up. So definitely watch all the way through. Don't feel like if we say down, that's necessarily a bad thing. We're really just looking at the stats and evaluating that and how it impacts our clients. So closed sales year to date, so we're talking 2019 compared to 2020. In Monroe County, in 2019, we had 7,897 closed sales. This year, we're at 6,143. So that's a difference about down 22% year over year. Ontario County, we had about 1,100 sales last year, and now we're down to 914. So right around down 22% again. And then similar in Wayne County, in 2019, we had 874 sales. This year, we're at 698 closed sales, so about a difference of down 22% as well.
And if you listen to any of the marketing updates that our team did throughout quarantine, throughout the pandemic, all of that, what we're saying is it's like, yes, it's down 20%, but like 80% of business is still happening.
It's still 80% of business. That's such a great point.
And there's so many people who, we're caught on it's down. Yes, it's down. And when you are in this crazy time, these unprecedented times, the fact that buyers and sellers still want to be connected 80% of the time is huge, is fantastic, and is something that we feel gives us confidence going into whatever this shift, whatever the future might look like.
That's such a great point. You want to talk about new listings?
Yes. Okay, so Monroe County in 2019, there were 10,919 new listings, and year to date, there's only been 9,076. So down 17%. Ontario County's down only 12% from 2091 down to 1837 new listings, and Wayne County is down 20% from 874 down to 698.
Great points.
So for
that's
us,
that low inventory.
That's the low inventory, and it's like we were already having low inventory, and now there's even less inventory.
That's what I've been talking to about with all of my sellers. I'm like, who would have thought 2019 we were like, whew, the inventory is so low, can't go any lower. And now it's down from 12 to 20% across our region overall, which is crazy. And also I joke with my clients, I'm like, who would have thought that we'd have a global pandemic and the real estate market in our region would come out stronger, which is what we're going to talk about next with that average sale price.
Yes. And I think the key too with these new listings is people are like, well, are people afraid to put their house on the market? And honestly, we haven't seen that. No. We haven't seen that people are afraid from a safety perspective, because the reality is, if you want to buy your house right now, check any of our other videos. If you want to buy or sell a house right now, we can probably do that completely virtually, make it happen in a safe way where there's PPE, where there's all of the things. So it's not a scared thing, but we're actually seeing the reduction of inventory is a lot of times kind of in that middle level where that buyer has to purchase somewhere, and finding where they can purchase, they're caught between a rock and a hard place where they know they can sell easily, but they don't have anywhere to go. And let's say they have children, let's say they have pets, finding that temporary housing is really hard. So a lot of people aren't staying put out of fear, they're staying put because they can't find where they want to go.
And that's where we're seeing the average amount of time that people are spending in their house is increasing as well. I believe the stat used to be 7 years and now it's up to 10 years. So people are staying in their homes longer. So those move up buyers, let's say in our market, maybe 150 to 250, 200 to 300 range, don't have anywhere to go. They're staying in their house longer, which then prevents first-time home buyers from being able to move up to those houses as well. So it all, all of these numbers really makes sense when you look at the full picture like that too. Yes. People are staying in their house longer, don't have anywhere to go, and therefore there's less houses on the market.
And the new build construction is really a great opportunity. It's up. Prices are really high for it though. But when you are going 20, 30 grand over on a house, you can also build new.
Exactly.
So it's like, yes, prices are high for new builds, and whether it's supplies and lumber and all of those things, that's a whole nother story. But it's also in terms of just what else you can buy for, and the fact that you have a guaranteed house and you know exactly when it is, compared to sometimes the emotional roller coaster that is purchasing a house now too.
Right. I've heard lumber sales are up 17%. Not sure too much more about that, but that's what I heard.
It's a lot.
And that creates then, a more expensive to build your home, of course. So there's lots of different things to consider, but we've helped people obviously buy existing, connect with builders, spot build neighborhoods, things like that. So we've handled it all to make sure that we can guide you guys.
And some people are saying, do I put an addition on my house or do I build a new one? So those are conversations
Talk
we're
to us
having.
about that too. Because we have, I have a client of mine that just put his house on the market, and he was thinking, we need more space. We need to sell our house, but could we build an addition? And we looked at the numbers, and he would price himself out of his neighborhood, where even if he was going to stay there for another 10 years, it really wouldn't make sense for him financially. So he decided to go with the buy-sell route. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out to us so we can really look at those numbers and make sure it makes sense financially too.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
So the key point that we hope you are getting is sale prices are up. Your average sale price, your list price to sale price, if prices have not been this high in a very long time for your specific home, depending on your neighborhood, but in general, it's up that 4 to 6%. But when we say these numbers are down, it's not down due to a lack of interest. It is due to a lack of inventory. So that's the key message that we hope you're taking away from today.
Definitely. There's not, closed sales aren't down, new listings aren't down because buyers aren't interested in going out and buying a new house, or sellers don't want to sell their house. It's simply because the inventory of houses and potential sales is low. So definitely a really, really important note that people aren't scared. People don't just not want to buy. It's just the market that's impacting those numbers.
Yes. And I got to tell you, I got to brag on our team.
Oh, okay.
Our team is up 5% year to date, which is incredible, not just when everything else is down, these 22%, but the fact that it just shows that we are, a standard closing takes about 2 months. So we are right now closing these transactions that were coming from, June. And so we definitely see that. We know that even our pending pipeline is probably up a little bit more than that as well, because it's how can we make sure that we are serving clients when there was that period of time still in June, and heck, still now, where we are really mindful of how we make people feel comfortable so that a transaction can happen safely, smoothly, and that it's an enjoyable process and not a scary process for someone. And I truly think that our team's ability to shift and navigate that time was how we can do it. And also, if you don't know the market right now, it's really tough to price. It's tough to manage. Abby's managing multiple offers. How do you create the right energy but not wait too long? How do you, as a buyer's agent, how to educate your client in order to get that house? If you're not doing a lot of business in the way that our team is doing business, I can imagine it being really hard. And those teams that do a lot of business, I know, are really flourishing in this because of all of that data that they are getting from their team directly.
And we see that data changes like daily, hourly, weekly, because we can see, okay, we listed this house this week and it got this many offers. We listed a similar one the very next week and got a different results. So we're constantly keep being able to have a pulse on the market because of the volume and the people that we're able to help, where we can say, okay, we've got this data constantly by the minute rolling in that we can really work with. And that's so important in this market to sell and get top dollar, but also to win those houses in the multiple offer situation.
Yes, so
for sure.
So that's kind of the overarching, and we have one more thing that we want to leave you guys with in terms of when people are saying, well, what's COVID going to do for a future standpoint, right? With unemployment. And now there's kind of two pieces to this. One piece we didn't even talk about was about how people are doing a lot with deferring their payments.
Yes.
And what will that look like if those people who are deferring their payments then are unable to catch up, are able to, they've lost their job so they can't pay, and what that looks like from a foreclosure standpoint. My quick thoughts on that, and I'll give you some more of it at another time, maybe on another one of our Fridays with Friends episodes, is that there will be something that's happening with foreclosures. And when we're talking about in all of the surrounding counties, there's about 15,000 houses that sell a year. If we have 1,000 of those, 2,000 more foreclosures that drop on the market, that's going to make an impact. However, Do you have any idea how long it takes to foreclose on a house?
I was going to say, quick reminder, if it says pre-foreclosure on Zillow, it's not foreclosed.
Yes.
Or for sale.
So we typically say it takes at least a year, but a lot of the banks that we're talking to saying due to COVID, they're probably not going to hit the market for, someone said 2 to 5 years. So when that is on our radar, that is in conversation. The key, if you cannot make your mortgage payment right now, do not stick your head in the sand. Call us, talk to us. We can either help you sell, we can either talk to your bank, we can do something so you understand the value, but do not stick your head in the sand. Yes, it will take a long time, but we are here to help you. We're not just here to help you sell a house. We're here for all of your real estate needs. So that is our message on that. Okay, the other part.
Chills.
Ooh,
so good.
So how is COVID impacting the future for real estate? And some of the things that we were talking about is, and again, we have some graphs and some stats on this because we love it, but when we talk about how unemployment impacted the market, it actually impacted 35 and under. 35 years old and under is the demographic that COVID impacted the most, specifically through unemployment.
Yep, which is really only about 27% of the buying population. So 35 and under makes up about 27% of the buying population. So it really impacted a smaller percentage than obviously the 35 and above age group.
And the important thing about that is when you actually look at average weekly income by industry, what you actually see is the industries that faced the most unemployment are actually the industries that had the lowest weekly income.
Right.
And so what that means is that person that's 35 and under may be if they were in an industry where they could already afford to buy a house, they probably weren't the ones that were impacted. So they're talking about, I know there's a lot of politics about the K recovery and all these different types of recovery, but what we're really seeing is we don't foresee it. This foreclosure thing's kind of looming, but we don't foresee it impacting buying power as much because there's still this huge chunk of buyers that are not unemployed, that still have strongly weekly incomes, that have not made this dramatic impact, as opposed just due to the fact that it impacted a lot of the younger, those that weren't making this really strong weekly income anyway. Those are the ones that just got hit really hard, and it sucks.
Definitely.
But from a real estate perspective, it is good. But from a loss of income and all of that, it's hard. And those numbers are so much more than just numbers. They are real people. That's where we're just trying to keep it big, but also trying to get you granular and data on that.
For sure. Well, I think that kind of wraps everything up. So we definitely went through, obviously, all of the stats, big picture idea of how did the pandemic impact pretty much immediately in that, first, second quarter, but then we also got into the current data year over year. So lots of good stuff in here. Feel free to share this with anyone that loves stats like we do. We also have a ton of graphs, as Mandy said, that we would be more than happy to dig in, share that with you if you want to talk specifically about your home location and what's happening with absorption rate and sale prices and things like that, or maybe a house in an area you're looking to buy. We can look at those numbers too to find out if now is the time for you.
And we do have some automatic market reports that our team has started to customize. So if you're just like, hey, can you give me a quick pulse on what my house or what the houses around my neighborhood are going towards? We can set you up so that it's automatic, so it's not, people are like, oh, I don't want to waste your time. We have like this phenomenal system that's just going to share with you some of your quick market stats. So we have that as well. So anything that you guys need, reach out to us, because you never know how it might be not a burden at all. Even if it is a burden, it's kind of our job and what we love to do. But we love to help however we can. So thanks for tuning in to Friday with Friends. Again, Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what's happening in the market, to answer any questions you might have, so that if you have any real estate needs, we would love the opportunity to be your realtor of choice.
Yes.
Friendonyourside.com if you want to learn any more about us, and of course, reach out for anything we can do to help.
We are available all the time. Love to chat.
We are.
Bye, guys.